Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer UK podcast. My name is Chris Bratt, and today I am joined by David, almost always inappropriate, Scammell.
Almost always.
Yeah.
When am I not inappropriate?
When I edit you.
Right.
It's if you call him lean, he'll get very mean. It's Simon Miller.
That's very true, actually. Yeah. That is advice that I would heed to all men and women and children.
And he's always trying to steal my name. It's Brett Thipps.
Yes, thank you.
You're like a rubbish game show ho, Chris.
Thank you very
Pratt.
much. That is
game show ho, I just said.
That's exactly what I am.
I love a good game show ho.
Yeah, how are you, Brett? You good?
Yeah, good.
From Sportru.com.
Yeah, but alphabetically, you
What's
go
that
first,
website?
so you're okay.
What's that website? I forgot it.
It's Sportru.com.
Sportra.com.
Can you tell me how you spell that, please?
How do you spell it? Yeah.
I don't know.
Sportra.
What does
Almost got it wrong. So yeah, has anyone been playing any video games this week? That's usually something we like to start off by.
You're looking at me as if, Dave, please take over.
We did have a little chat before the podcast in which you said I'm the only one that's played video games this week.
Yeah.
So
well, I've been...
naturally my eyes are drawn to you.
What shall I start with? Go on. You know what games I've been playing. I don't know whether we should start with one or the other.
Start with the newest one.
The newest one?
Yeah.
So I was playing a bit of Dead Right. Well, playing a little bit. I played the whole.
They just snuck out from nowhere.
Yeah,
that's
a reason.
bollocks.
The reason
You've been playing a lot of Dead Rising. I'm pretty sure that's been your game every...
I played it a lot this year, yeah. Dead Rising 3's Fallen Angel DLC, which is the second episode.
They came out last night with no fanfare whatsoever, right?
Yeah, so they just dropped it on us.
They know why they did it.
Yeah. If you played the first piece of DLC, you know exactly what to expect. And if you haven't, don't bother.
I didn't even see a trailer, though. But I didn't see anything.
There is a trailer. I mean, the best thing about it, to be honest, it's just the new weapons. If you want some funky new weapons, it's quite cool. But then you've already got, 100, 200 weapons in the main game. So you're not going to be that desperate. No, it kind of follows exactly the same structure as the last DLC, which is you play as a new survivor. In this case, it's a girl called Angel. I can't remember her second name. Something like Carano or something like that.
If your first name's Angel, that's all you're ever going to do.
And she's a bit of a badass, you know.
Yeah.
She's got a little bit more character than the kind of generic military dude in the last DLC. And that's not quite nice, but they don't really do much with it. There's not really any story to it.
It's the problem with the main game, though, isn't it? All they do is inserting new characters into the very boring structure that is Dead Rising 3.
They're trying to tell the stories of the NPCs in the original game, but they're not doing a very good job of it. It's literally just a series of fetch quests. Again, go around each part of the map, collect these things, come back to where you started. That's it.
Do you get the feeling this DLC is meant to justify the season pass more than actually sell
I feel like it is
a bunch of DLC codes?
I feel like it's there to tick off a tick box and appease people looking after the money.
Would you be pissed if you'd have bought a season pass and was treated these two DLC packs?
Brett said that like Paxman. That was well direct.
Would you, David Scammell, be pissed?
Tell me now
about the quality of
so
DLC.
Season pass is 24 quid. Season pass is 24 quid.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'd be very pissed if I bought the DLC standalone for 8 quid because it just doesn't do anything. There's no reason to want to play it. It's not interesting enough, and you can't take the character back into the main game. It's not like suddenly that opens it up and you can take that in and play as her in a co-op match or anything like that. It's just literally a kind of 3-mission. Wow, it's a multi-part single mission essentially that you finish and then you don't feel anything for it. You don't really care. It's identical to all the other stuff you play. Just run around. You run around killing the military. That's honestly, about it.
Dead Rising 3 to me is probably, for a game that stood out at one point as well. That's a really good exclusive to have. You know, compared to everything else. What a just absolute flop. I know it's weird. I mean, people are probably going, oh, but you gave it 8 out of 10 video game. And we did. Burns likes it. You know, we stand and fall on our individual opinions.
I can see why he liked it as well.
I can see why lots of people like it, but I just think for a game that at one point was the shining beacon from the Xbox One, it's absolute
I like
dire.
it. I wouldn't score the main game much lower than that. I probably would, but not too much lower than an 8. But it's just they feel so passionless and so empty. It's like they are just being pumped out just for the sake of DLC, and it's just not the right way to go about it. You just think of all the stuff that they could do with a game like that, and because originally I saw Dead Rising 3 as a kind of almost like a mercenaries game, this explosive big stuff. I remember when they're calling in the airstrikes and things like that. They don't do anything
You only do that
spectacular. There's no wow moment. There's a bit in this DLC where they introduce it's a new electronic rifle type thing that just destroys zombies, and that stuff's quite cool, but they introduce it far too late. You only get to use it for about 2 minutes at the end of the game, and I don't know.
Sorry, the DLC's been a bit crap. Here, have this electronic rifle.
If you haven't yet finished the main game, I'd probably recommend it a bit more, because you can take those weapons back into the main game, even though you can't play as the character. And they would be quite fun to use on a little bit, if you get to use them a little bit more. It was the same with the last DLC. I hadn't finished the core game before I bought the last DLC, so I had like the armor truck with the turret on the top to actually use in the main game, and that was quite good. That was quite helpful. But if you finish the main game, if you've leveled up your character to level 50 and you're maxed out already, there's not really much point.
Yeah, because I mean, this is the reason you return to the game, isn't it?
This is the reason.
It's not even like they've extended the level cap with the DLC. It's just, I don't know. It just feels very soulless.
But that to me is the general consensus with most DLC. To be honest, even games I love, I never feel compelled to buy the DLC because it always feels like an add-on or something that someone. I don't ever believe when people are making a game, they think, oh, if we include this as DLC, it will really add to the experience.
Yeah.
Now, I can't say much because embargoes. They drink it in the Congo. But the Last of Us DLC comes out on Friday. Yeah, and we can start talking about it properly on Thursday. I think I've got like 5 minutes left to go. And obviously, a little bit sort of handcuffed. But even that raises questions for me about the worthiness of DLC. It's not bad. I'm not saying that. I don't want people to go, oh, it's terrible. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it raises a question for me about the worthwhileness of adding these things onto games.
I mean, one of my favourite kind of extensions to a game recently was Enemy Within, and they almost made part of their marketing, their branding for it was to avoid the word DLC a lot of the time and tried to refer to it as an expansion.
What game is this? Sorry, I missed it.
Enemy Within for XCOM.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking of
the
Evil Within.
Evil Within.
Yeah, sorry.
And they're trying, because when you think of DLC, you do often think of these very small add-ons to the game, and I have a similar opinion. I struggle to get excited about it sometimes, just because I know in a lot of cases it will be a small extension, maybe a few more missions. It doesn't really drastically alter the game. I can't think of what my go-to DLC is as an example of
I think
one that's been done really, really well.
I think the thing with Dead Rising's DLC is that it feels like very early DLCs used to feel, and then it kind of just takes what's already there
it doesn't
and
do
just
anything.
adds another half an hour onto play.
I don't see the point of it. The only DLC, that's a lie actually, because it worked well with Oblivion. I really liked Oblivion, not the horse armor.
Yeah,
but like all this stuff, like the Shivering Isles wasn't really it was DLC. It was just a big DLC.
I'd call that an expansion. I think what we think of as DLC is, I'd feel harsh calling.
But there was some good DLC bits. I can't remember any of their names now, but it worked. It made me. I was glad. I get to go back into Oblivion. But I can't think of any games where actually I'm like, oh, awesome! I can get to go back. I hate stuff like downloadable characters and shit like that.
But the problem that you had with games is sort of the problem that I had when people were talking about Metal Gear Ground Zeroes, which is when I wrote the feature. Is even when people try
VideoGamer.com.
Which is when people try and how do you spell it? Which is when people try and justify value by saying, well, when you go back and you play it again and you try doing all these additional things. It's like with Infamous as well. They say, well, you got 2 stories there. Well, no, I've done the game. For me, my story was the first time I played it, I was done. It's the same with like games like Virtue's Last Reward, where they have all these different narratives, but like you say with The Last of Us, you was done. 3 months ago, you completed it and you was done.
That's the thing. I can't say why I would get to, but yes. I mean, that is the point. I mean, the other reason is just, I forgot my point. Oh my gosh. It's just literally fallen out of my head. Damn you, Brit!
I was going to say that I think single-player DLC is always quite tough. I think it's a lot tougher than multiplayer DLC, which is throwing a few more maps, and that's fine.
Yeah, well, that works, doesn't it?
It's like, but what do you do with single-player DLC? I mean, what people tend to do is just fill in the blanks in the story, and that's fine, but it needs to be interesting. It can't just be more of the same. I look back to like Gears of War 2's DLC. Do you remember that?
This thing.
That was terrible.
I never played the DLC. I get the maps.
And you loved Gears of War 2.
And I love Gears of War 2. It's one of my favourite games ever, but it was that when you were just Marcus and Dom, and it was like,
boring.
It took about 3 minutes. Like,
it was just there for the sake of it being
exactly
there.
It was pointless, and that's what I don't understand. Like, I think it's I remember my point. I think it's an age thing as well, because when I was playing Oblivion, obviously I was a lot younger than I am now, and I was happy for the. Now I just want an experience wrapped up within the game itself, and then I want to move on to something else. I don't want it, but it never happens though. When has there ever been? You only get the full experience if you buy the DLC. Never. It's always an extra sort of add-on. You
do sometimes have the concern that DLC was designed to be part of the full game has been taken out.
But I've never, even if that's true, when I played that game, I've never felt, it missed that DLC. It felt like that would have been put on the cutting floor anyway, and somebody went, well, we can charge for it actually, so just do that instead. So even if I don't purchase that DLC, I haven't missed out on anything. The experience was always going to be what the director or design director, whatever, wanted it to be. And that's my problem with it in general. Like I say, Gears of War 2, I love it. No interest in playing that DLC because it wasn't good. I can't even remember if Gears 3 had any DLC other than maps.
Story DLC, I don't think it...
No, they just had...
I like the idea of themed DLC. When there's something that you can look at and you go, that's why it's different. I think Battlefield has done that very well. It did it very well with Battlefield 3. It's doing it well with Battlefield 4. And I think they've kind of tried to do it in this latest Dead Rising DLC. A couple of the weapons are kind of electricity-based. There's a defibrillator and the electricity rifle. But it doesn't make that point enough. You don't come away from it thinking... I think
the idea works, but it tends to work better with more fleshed out expansions. Blood Dragon with Far Cry 3 was great because it was the same core game and you went back to it for the same reasons.
Idea of
but it was a different theme. Undead Nightmare, Red Dead Redemption, absolutely excellent.
Assassin's Creed DLC is apparently
now okay, I take it back. Yeah, that is.
That's not DLC though.
That's not DLC, is it? That's
it's just a standalone.
It's an add-on. I mean, I know you can't argue it's the same, but that's the thing. They are extra games within a universe. That's not the same to me as downloadable content. Like I know you can download it and it is content, but I mean DLC in inverted commas. I mean, Undead Nightmare is probably the best example of that ever. I mean, taking the idea and then completely reworking it and still somehow it all makes sense.
Something with a bit of thought and effort. That's really it.
You get a lot from it from originally playing Red Dead Redemption in the first place. It is an extension of that. But
let's chat about Red Dead Redemption for a bit. You don't like Red Dead Redemption, do you, Dave?
I wanted to love it, and that's why I didn't like it as much as I did, I think.
What you need to do is go and watch the first 2 seasons of Deadwood and then go and play it.
Do that. I think it's Rockstar's. I still think it's Rockstar's best work. I think it's one of the best games ever. I thought it was going to be
the best game ever made, and then
I think it's pretty. You finished it, right?
I didn't finish it, no.
Oh,
no.
You've got to get that ending.
I'm at to the bit where everyone says
the best
shit.
You bought Ride to Hell over the weekend or something,
I did, and I played it as well.
Stop, Dave, stop it. Just stop it.
But I think John Marston and the ending of that game is probably the best. He's the best character and the best ending of any game ever.
I've gone back to it about 6 or 7 times thinking... I really want to finish it. I really want to, and I just can't.
I have the same problem though with all. Grand Theft Auto 5 was the first Rockstar game I've ever finished because I did.
You didn't finish Red Dead?
No, the problem that I have is
these people
I get stuck in side quests for 40 hours.
That's your fault.
Yeah, I know it's my fault. I'm not blaming the game. I'm not saying the game Red Dead's at fault because I spent 12 hours hunting rabbits.
But even with the side quests, like GTA, I do with side.
Yeah, I know.
What's the bad thing about that?
No, I'm just saying I didn't finish.
Yeah, I was going to say being taken off the beaten track, which Red Dead really tries to do all the time, is excellent.
It was too slow for me, I think.
Really?
That's why. That's the best thing about it was it created so many of your like unique moments.
Yeah.
Be it with just a horizon and that music coming, or I think it's a wonderful game. I think it's if someone said to me I want to play a video game, I think I'd start with Red Dead, to be honest.
Yeah, I loved going between cities. I loved going from town to town. There was that I can't remember what it was, but you was on the top of the canyon and you just went down the winding path into the city to meet the sheriff, and I loved doing that, especially when the sun was rising and setting. I
tell you what, I'd like to play Red Dead now, because when I booted up Last of Us DLC the other day, it's amazing how much we take next-gen stuff for granted. Last of Us does not look as good as it did.
Really?
No, it doesn't. I mean, it still looks really good, because Naughty Dog know what they're doing, but it does not look as impressive as I did when I played it sort of summer of last year.
Really?
Just because, well, obviously, stuff like Battlefield or what else is a good looking? I mean, Killzone is boring as shit.
You played Rise since then. Rise looks good.
Right, that's the thing, but you don't really notice until you go, oh my gosh, I am adapting without realising.
I just got really sad then that there isn't a PC version of Red Dead. Never happened, did it? We're talking about it with GTA 5 possibly.
Yeah, when's that happening? That needs to happen soon.
But man, imagine what could have happened. Why? God damn it. Anyway.
Rockstar's weird with their PC ports.
They are very weird with it because everyone demands them and then they're like,
That's why they don't do it. Rockstar plays by their own rules.
But that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. They hold 37.5 million copies of GTA 5.
I'll give you this money. And then
they don't need it. That's what's so good about them. They do things what they want to do. They don't worry about anybody else. They do what they want to do and they succeed with it. And that's why I like them. I like all their games. LA Noire is brilliant too.
LA Noire is good.
I like LA Noire and GTA. I like LA Noire and Red Dead more than GTA. What? I really do, yeah. I do.
LA Noire,
I like GTA a lot. I think it's fantastic.
Yep,
but
I loved LA Noire.
LA Noire and Red Dead, I think are
Max Payne's really good
games.
as well.
Max Payne was all right, you know.
Get over the first half hour. It goes really good.
Max Payne would have been better if the levels, if it was more arcadey. That's the only thing with Max Payne. If they focused less on the story and more on the gameplay, I think.
There's just so many highlights in that game that I look back to now and I remember, like the airport scene and the music kicks in.
Yeah.
It's like there are a few games where you think, I can remember that. I played that. When did that come out? 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah.
Still remember it. I played it yesterday.
It made bullet time fun again.
Yeah.
That's a pretty impressive thing. Everyone had ripped it off and went, no, we did it. We do it again.
What I loved when I played Max Payne was when you went through a really hard part in the game and you killed, say, 20 guys. You thought, I got out of that all right. And you swing the camera around and Max is just covered in bullet holes and blood.
Would anyone else like to talk about a game from 2010 or prior?
I think Dave did have another game to mention that we...
It's quite old, actually, now, but it's only risen to popularity over the last few days. I'm addicted to Flappy Bird.
I was surprised to find out that came out early last year, right?
It was May, I think, wasn't it, last year?
So he's already made all his cash, that's why he's doing
it. I don't know if he did. I don't know if he actually made anything off it until recently.
I'm not sure he did. I think it suddenly rose to the top of the charts.
So he's pulled it, right? And it's not coming back, but I presume he's still making revenue from it. I assume he hasn't forfeited the rights to the ad revenue and all that's still coming in.
Hasn't.
So people are going, why is he giving up all the money? I don't think that's quite that simple. Mm-hmm.
But for those who don't know, and I imagine there aren't many, this is a mobile game that has gone crazy popular, as mobile games tend to do from time to time. And a couple of publications suggested that certain assets may have been ripped off from other games. And
it's similar.
A hell of a lot of hate went in the developer's direction, and he ended up pulling the game as a result.
Did he pull it because of that?
Well, that was the reason he pull it
because he can release another game and everyone go, the guy's releasing another game. Publicity.
I've never had hundreds of death threats, to be honest. I feel it's hard to...
I've had death threats.
Hundreds of them every day.
I once got about 6 death threats in a month over Xbox Live.
Oh man!
What
did you do?
One, I got in from. I've been on a trip somewhere. I may have told this story before. I got on a trip somewhere. I loaded up my Xbox Live and I had a thing that just said "Red Rum" in capital letters. And what does that mean? And fuck, it's murder backwards. So I messaged the guy back saying,
excuse me, sir, I believe you've made a mistake.
Yeah, but with more aggression and power. And he got back.
Excuse me, sir.
And he got back to me and said something along the lines of, "I'm going to, paint the walls red with your blood." And I was like, "One more thing like that, and I will ring Microsoft right now and get you screwed up." And he sent me loads, so I just rang Microsoft. There you go. That's a story for you.
What was there any context to this? Like in terms of when it arrived? Because you said you've been away.
Yeah, no, just some guys. I think it was like a 12-year-old kid thought it'd be funny to send me death threats.
Yeah,
so, fun.
Either way, I imagine you didn't enjoy that, even if it was a 12-year-old kid. Well, you reacted to it. I feel
I have been in a situation. So
surely, do you guys not have any empathy for this guy's situation then? Because a lot of people seem to be saying, well, he has so much money. I mean, I would have kept up with it.
No, it's fucking horrible. People are dickheads.
I was only being facetious. Yeah.
How would they like it?
Yeah,
he's done nothing wrong.
Exactly.
Well, I say he's done nothing wrong. I mean, obviously...
No, but ripping off some assets does not then result in him allowing to be death threats.
Yeah, I take that back. He doesn't deserve the stuff that was being thrown at him. Let's put it that way.
Publications that did say that those assets were stolen have come out and apologise for that in some form, and there's obviously the inspiration. I mean, if you look at the pipes that they use and the pipes that are used in Super Mario Brothers, they're both green. They both look quite similar, but
it's definitely inspired.
Yes, is that reason enough to send
for death threats? Absolutely not.
I mean, come on, the mobile marketplace has a lot of that going on in the first place, isn't it? Look how many Flappy Birds clones there are.
I know, it's quite ironic, really, isn't it?
But that's it, isn't it? You get eyes on your product, and then people try and drag you down. It's the nature of life. Got to be careful. Got to be on your toes.
Anyway,
on the plus side, Dave still has his copy of.
I still have it, and I'm thinking about selling my iPhone.
Why?
Because they're going for stupid amounts on eBay.
Yeah. Just because you've got Flappy Birds on it?
Yeah.
Why do you mean? How much?
Thousands.
No. Okay, well, they're being listed.
I don't know.
They're being listed at silly figures. I don't think people are actually buying them.
Sold for about $7,000.
That's bullshit.
Is it bullshit?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
There was one for $94,000 and it just disappeared. Apparently, it got sold.
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
That's bullshit.
Nobody wants to play a fucking game called Flappy Bird for
nobody in this world
£94,000.
spent thousands on.
You say that though.
That's not true.
If you're a billionaire, then 94,000 is the equivalent of a fiver to us.
If you're a billionaire, you don't care about Flappy Birds.
Yes, you do. Why not? Why can't you care about Flappy Birds? How dare you discriminate against billionaires in this world?
Sorry.
What have they done, Brad?
Yeah. They could make like 10 copies of Flappy Birds and sell them. But Flappy Bird's really good. If you'd have said to me a week ago, Dave, you're willing to check out, because you do this sometimes, you say, Dave, I found this game.
Oh, look at this.
And it's called Flappy Bird. I'd have told you where to go. I'd have been like, Bratters, what is this game? It sounds rubbish. And then I sat down and played it, and I was like, oh no.
I've heard so I haven't played it, but as far as I'm aware, it's the same as that. I remember that chopper game. I think it was a Flash game.
Yeah.
Where you if you hold down, it rises upwards. And
I can't remember exactly how it's controlled, but
you need to avoid the obstacles. That's the same It's the same principle,
it's
right?
not particularly original. It's just very simple, innocent game design that is incredibly addictive.
It's given Dave Tourette's as well, because we'll be sat at lunch and Dave will be sat in the corner every now and then. We'll be sat there all quiet, and all of a sudden Dave just go, fuck! And then you think, what's happened?
Yeah.
And we turn around to him and he goes, oh, I got so close to my high score, and he'll just
I think you are actually pretty good at it though, right? You're getting some...
Well, I don't mean to gloat, but I have achieved a high score of 192.
Does that mean you've gone through 192 pipes?
Yes.
Wow.
But no, there's someone out there who is in the industry, was in the industry, who is on 300 and something. I've now made it my life goal to...
Your life goal?
It's a pretty good life goal, Dave.
To beat this person.
Cue the montage. Rocky music in the background.
But yeah, Flappy Birds is all over the place at the moment. Everyone's talking about it, and everyone seems to be getting frustrated that everyone is talking about it.
I can see why, though. It's just like, it's what happened with Angry Birds. Once it's word of mouth, it takes off. Like, it's just, that's it. It goes viral. And it's exactly the sort of game that is perfect for someone to just pick up for 5 minutes, or to pick up for an hour and just play. Like, there's nothing...
On the plus side, it is a... we've been talking about free-to-play games on that marketplace a lot as well. That's just adverts, right? It's
like old school type.
You don't have to pay for lives, anything like that.
No. That's what I mean by innocent design. Like,
so it's actually a pretty decent free-to-play model.
Yeah.
If you're happy with adverts.
I tweeted this, like the perfect example of free-to-play without all the monetization bullshit. Yeah. And everyone's like, but there was opportunities for in-app purchases. Well, there are, yeah. Maybe you could buy a new colour for Flappy Bird, or you could buy like a helmet. But, you know, well, I'm sure there would be opportunities, but it's fine as it is.
Do you want to buy a helmet for your Flappy Bird? Yeah. But it goes to show how shit the internet and Twitter is. People have a horrendous sense of expectation, and if you attack that, or even question it, they go mad and they think I can say whatever they want. It's the Mass Effect 3 situation all over again. Change our ending. We didn't like it.
It's the Fez 2 situation again,
exactly.
Isn't it?
The what?
It's the Fez 2 situation again, isn't it? Fez 2 isn't...
I think I'd already made a fine analogy there, Brad.
I think Fez 2 is a better analogy. That's why
I don't think you need to take this podcast hostage.
A long time ago that I think BioWare set quite a dangerous precedent by actually doing that, because now it's like, we're listening to you and you can have whatever you want. And I don't think creatively and from
it's a terrible idea. Mass Effect 3's ending sucked, right? But you meet Joe Bloggs. That's what I'm saying. You meet Joe Bloggs, and Joe Bloggs say, I really like Mass Effect 3 ending. You know why? It's called fucking entertainment, and people will fall down on either side of the fence. If you don't like it, put Mass Effect 3 down and just go outside for a bit.
I don't think it sucks.
Play something else. Like, don't worry about it.
The thing is, it wasn't exactly what a lot of people wanted. That's the problem. And if they don't get what they want, then they make a fuss.
I don't think it sucked either. I think Mass Effect is a really good series, and that wasn't a good enough.
Do you remember when we were going to talk about old games?
That's what I mean. Every conversation about old games. But you're right. It was not a good enough finale. But it doesn't mean they should have changed it. That was their creative vision. Mm-hmm. Some people think it's amazing. Some people don't. All right, that's something we debate about. And the ending did what? Oh, we changed the colours. Now Shepard's got green eyes, which means he's okay. Fuck off. What does that even mean? The ending was balls. It didn't make any sense. And I was talking to a child. And
if they were clever, they could have gone, yeah, it's all right, don't worry about it. And then when Mass Effect 4 comes out, whatever it's called, then...
It was all a dream.
The reasons why that happened and your actual choices that you made could all, come right in that.
That was it. I didn't really feel the choices had any...
That was the main problem.
Yeah,
and I understand that...
Mass Effect 3 was huge, and then it kind of petered out. Yeah.
I get why that caused an issue.
But let's not forget that Mass Effect 3 had a load of great moments.
Sorry, you haven't played Walking Dead, right? You haven't finished it?
Yes,
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I haven't.
All right, so
I haven't finished it yet.
We can't bring that up then as a comparison.
Well,
I was just thinking, I don't want to spoil
But that was a little different, wasn't it? Because from what I understand, that was a kind of a set story that you
influenced. Yeah. It was different.
Yeah,
it was different. But I mean, there was a sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, this the whole idea of player choice within games is. I think
it's a fallacy for many games. Where,
it is. Like The Walking Dead always had a story it wanted to tell.
Yeah,
and you just kind of you alter the path that you go along on the way to the ending.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster. You just have to choose which way you go. Whereas something like Mass Effect, you could actually completely end up somewhere different depending on what you did. And the third game, towards its end, didn't do that.
That's the reason people were frustrated.
But you can't look over the things it did do, like the stuff with Morden. Was that the guy's name?
That game, how long was it? 20 hours maybe?
Yeah, and
19 and a half of those hours were terrific.
Yeah, I'd say 17. That last, when it goes, let's be Call of Duty, fuck off.
Yeah. What, the last kind of fight?
When you're in London, this is absolutely ridiculous.
But...
Anyway, who wants to talk anything else? Want to talk about Fable 2? We're going to talk about Fable 2. Call of Duty 4.
That's
a hot topic right now.
Pretty good.
Classic.
Sam, you've been playing anything?
Well, I've only played the Last of Us DLC.
Right.
I did play Lego Star Wars Microfighters on iOS. and it was the most mundane thing I'd ever played. So that was depressing.
Good.
If you want to know about
an iOS game I played.
Oh no, it's been. I'm not allowed to talk about it. Am I?
It's fine.
Sorry,
I'm joking.
I thought you said you were done.
No, I will. You go. I'll chime in.
I played. Is it Fight Back? It's Ninja Theory's iOS game.
Oh man, is it bad?
See, I got told it was terrible, and it's. I don't know. I don't think it is terrible.
You don't know if it's terrible.
No, because I mean, it's one of those games that you can just sniff the money grabbing like all over the place, like buy this, upgrade this, upgrade this. But there's something really satisfying about beating the shit out of someone for just tapping the screen constantly, and I don't know what it is. It's kind of there's not much strategy to it, but you kind of have to counter stuff and evade stuff, and it's a very basic fighter. But there's something about it's almost like these rapid punches. As you tap the screen, it does these rapid punches, so you build up like 30, 40 combos, and there's something satisfying about that. But
you feel like you're actually punching them with your
finger.
Ninja
Theory are a good dev, right?
Oh,
it's not a bad. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's just the microtransaction stuff.
There are plenty of great game ideas.
Just to continue the theme of this podcast, they made not Heavenly Sword, the other one, Enslaved.
No, they made Heavenly Sword.
I don't know. I didn't mean that one though.
Oh, right.
I meant Enslaved is not a good game. Like Enslaved is. I know a lot of people sort of defend Enslaved.
It is good,
but it's not. It's like it's as if somebody
gameplay-wise it's terrible.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's as if someone tried to like. I'm sure gameplay stuff from 1998 would be really good in 2010 or whenever it came out. And a lot of people think it was good. Not that many. So what, like 9 copies? So I'm not 100% sure Ninja Theory are a good developer. I do think DMC was good.
I thought DMC was really good.
Yeah.
So
maybe that was just the kind of right niche they needed to find.
I thought Heavenly Sword was okay.
I thought Heavenly Sword was okay, but I thought Enslaved was genuinely a terrible, terrible game.
Fair enough.
With Andy Serkis's giant face as an enemy.
See, it's the only one of theirs I didn't finish. I played it for 2 levels and then I don't know what happened, but I just kind of gave up.
Because it was not good.
I completed it, but I do like Ninja Theory as a developer. I thought DMC was arguably the best Devil May Cry game that there's been because it was
the most accessible, definitely. But
because, like you say, the accessibility of switching between weapons and the moving and transitioning between levels and whatnot. But like you say, the gameplay in Enslaved was very poor, but people played it for the story, which some people do. You know, you can just get through it because you want to see what the characters do next.
Wasn't it the one where she jumped on his back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good game. But I mean, like, I don't. What do they do now? If they've done the right,
they haven't announced it, have they?
What are they going to do?
I don't know. I don't think they'll be doing another DMC.
It didn't do well enough, right?
Well, yeah.
Like
going to be the reason. Oh, that's a shame.
Didn't do terribly though, did it?
I wish they were doing another DMC.
Yeah.
But I doubt they will.
I think it's probably dead.
Do you remember when people went mad because his hair colour changed?
Yeah.
Well, it's because he went all emo, isn't it?
Yeah.
But again, it's that entire. Well,
it is that entitlement. People can be idiots. They really can.
I don't know. It's weird when you see big shifts in characters that you've grown attached to. It is a little strange. But yeah, any games that came out in the last.
I told you.
Sorry,
Lego Star Wars Micro Fighters, the greatest game no one talks about.
You said it was shit.
I was joking. I'm being serious.
Oh.
But I just don't get it because it's a shoot 'em up basically,
right?
Where you control it with your finger and you move the chip around, and as soon as you touch the screen, it will start firing. So you've got to worry about firing. But it's a Lego game, and you can get game over. You do have lives, so it's not like a traditional Lego game. But the whole point of shoot 'em ups is like skill and
uber difficult.
Yeah, and working your way through. This is so mundane and so boring that you just got to put your finger on the screen, then move it right a bit, then move it left a bit, then move it up a bit, and levels go on for about 20 minutes each, and you're like, this is unreal. I mean, you go through the prequel and the sequels. The trilogy, you go through it all. So, you're on the Death Star and doing stuff. But every time it's just put finger on and wiggle it around. And it's like, it's only 69p. But, if someone said, hey, pay me 69p, I'll punch you in the face, I'll be, no, I don't want to be punched in the face. So it's the same with, I don't understand why it exists. All this tells me was, if you were a peripheral pilot in the Star Wars films, you were bored as shit. And you were like, why the fuck did I sign up for this? I should have joined the Empire. At least then I would have been a bit badass. You can choose whether you're light side or dark side to begin with, but all that does is change the colour of your shit. So it's and what you're shooting at.
That's how it works. So, that's how morality works.
So now you're shooting X-Wings rather than TIE fighters or vice versa. And it's just... Oh man, it's mundane. It's so mundane. Like, it's so like, just get it out there because it has Star Wars slapped on it. I hate the Lego games anyway, but this one is particularly boring.
I think there's something to some of the Lego games.
I find them all boring. I just don't understand the thrill of like. There's no goal. There's no end game. It's just they're collect 'em ups, and you just run around, and then you whack B to build things, and then
but I
don't get it.
I think that's just a problem with the genre. I don't think they're bad games. They're very fun to play.
Boring. I find them boring, and I find like if they don't.
I think if you
sounds like
I'd
baby's
struggle to
first
play.
shmup.
It is like that.
Yeah, it does sound like that. Yeah, like there's nothing. What you're describing, sounds like there's nothing.
And they don't use the license in the fun way. Like that's always the most interesting thing about Lego games is how they take the mick out of it and stuff. And it doesn't do that. At all. So
there's another Lego game out this Friday, isn't there?
Lego the movie, the game.
Lego movie, the video. We're not allowed to get it till right up to release because apparently because the film has a load of spoilers and surprises in it. Yeah. They won't let us play it until the film comes out.
Because the cutscenes in the game are ripped from the film, right?
Well, over in the US, people seem to be really liking the movie, right? It's getting
that's why
James saw it. James
there's some early previews, isn't there?
I think he saw it.
It's supposed to be.
I dreamt that.
Yeah,
we'll do something with the game, but I tell you now, 7 out of 10. It's just going to be another Lego game, isn't it?
There's a lot of stuff out this Friday, though, isn't there? Last of Us DLC, obviously.
Yeah, let's go through all Final Fantasy Returns.
Final Fantasy, we've not played that.
Lightning Returns.
What else is out?
Titanfall beta.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to talk about it, but it's fucking good.
Well, later on.
Well, I would say if I was a Titanfall fan, I would tune into VideoGamer.com about 5 p.m. and I'd also go to the YouTube channel to maybe see it in motion, some exclusive footage. But what do I know? I'm nothing to do with VideoGamerDTV.
I've seen some of that.
I'm glad you haven't signed any kind of legal agreement.
I've signed absolutely nothing.
I'm excited to play a bit of Titanfall.
I'm excited to maybe take a look at it later on today or something, but we'll see.
Really? I also want to talk about I can't think of an old enough game. Someone say something else.
Shadow of the Colossus completed that this week.
You did, in the stream.
All the way up whilst I was playing it, I was constantly being told that the final Colossus was a bit of a letdown. I quite liked it. And I'll admit, out of all the Colossi,
it doesn't move.
That one looked the most like a boss fight I've seen. Like when that Colossus first came into existence, I see that's because his little looked good. He was always going to be a final boss of a video game, wasn't he? He's a giant platform.
It's a giant platform, yeah.
I've finished laser
hands. But, what people forget is as well, he is the ultimate. What have we taught you about this game? Figure it out. Yeah. And there are a lot of things to figure out. I mean, obviously, we were playing it in the stream, so
I think I was.
But would you have known to shoot him in the shoulder? Maybe not.
Yeah, because you need to kind of use his hand to get to his shoulder, and shooting it with an arrow brings it to different locations. I'm not sure I would have got that so easily, but it's not particularly difficult compared to some of them. I found certain parts of that game really, really stressful. I thought it was a great game to stream, but oh my god, when you're attacked, you finally found the magical weak spot, right? And you're grabbing onto its fur and you're about to stab it, and then it shakes its head around, and your guy just goes all over the place, and you can't get enough time to stab it with your sword. Doing that on a live stream with Simon Miller sitting next to you is an experience.
Come at me, bro.
Very quickly.
Is an experience.
Talking of stressful games to play with Simon Miller on a live stream.
Oh, they're actually.
I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, we both returning to.
But we both played Outlast. We haven't talked about Outlast.
Well, I think there's not much to say other than go and watch that video because it's very funny to watch you two.
It's not funny. Let's not talk about it.
Are we playing it tomorrow?
Yes.
Please do.
I think we are.
I tried playing that at home.
Do we have
having watched the video and still couldn't get as far as you guys did?
See,
can't something happen in our private lives which means we can't make it?
I don't think it's very scary from what I've seen so far. I've heard it is, but
it's terrifying.
It isn't. There's a few jump scares, and that's pretty crazy. But when you actually start getting chased by things, the big selling point of Outlast,
that bit's not. But Miller made a rod for his own back in the video. I won't say why again because some people might not have seen it, but there's certain things where you're so terrified because again, like you say, it's not the jump scare that's bad, it's the anticipation of the jump scare.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it does it any differently than a lot of other games.
I really
jump scares.
dislike jump scares.
Yeah,
like BioShock Infinite, I did not think was a scary game. I thought it had a good atmosphere to it, and I thought there were moments of sort of unrest. But the bit where it's right near the end of the game and you hit a switch and you turn around and it drops an enemy, he's just there.
The siren, right?
In front. It screams in your face.
That doesn't happen.
I couldn't play that game for a week.
So far,
because it ruined me so much.
I was so scared that I
dropped my controller
and my ears started to ring. That was how scared I got. I went.
You guys are absolute cowards.
You saying?
Yeah, this doesn't happen to everyone.
BioShock's scary.
Even Dave.
That's what I said. That's why I said. I said the bit where there's a jump scare.
No, this doesn't happen to everyone apparently because I spoke to someone about this and apparently it didn't happen to them. Apparently it's not.
I don't remember that at all.
Yes, it apparently doesn't happen to everyone.
Honestly, you would have found it scary.
Would I?
It was exactly like Outlast shit.
I tell you what though, I went back and watched that video with my girlfriend over the weekend and she loves that sort of horror.
You and your girlfriend watch videos of you.
Well, I said to her
naked.
Yeah,
they're all cream.
But she plays things like Project Zero and is it Project Zero?
Yeah,
and Siren and all that sort of stuff. She's sitting there and goes, I don't know how you can be scared of stuff like this. And then it got to that wheelchair bit. Coming back, she goes, I'm like, see, now who's scared? Yeah,
I'm very. The thing is, I mean, I'm very good at suspending my disbelief. Hence why I like pro wrestling so much. I'm more than. No, it's true. I'm more than willing to buy into what I'm seeing is real for the duration of watching it. So with Outlast, it's the same thing. I'm not playing that shit. I'm in that shit.
Yeah,
and that's why I get so freaked out about it.
It's why I never see plot spoilers in terrible films as well. Where people have seen it from the start of the film, and I go, "Oh, I didn't see that coming." I go, "You kidding me, right?"
Yeah, no, because I'm exactly the same.
Yep,
I throw myself into the film. So I mean, Outlast is.
I feel like you may have made a couple of blunders along the way because you were so scared of the.
We're not going into dark bits. Yeah. We're not exploring that.
That's what I meant. It was the batteries was one of the things.
You were using the night vision on the camera.
Oh no, we need the light on the whole time.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Yeah, you do.
I think you've used all your batteries. No. Now, when you do need to go for an actually dark area, you're going to.
He's probably got a point, Dave.
Tricky.
We did run out. Oh no! Because I fucked up a lot. I kept pressing triangle, thinking it was night vision, and it was
just ramming more batteries.
Yeah, that was what I meant. I didn't want to spoil it, but yeah, you kept hitting triangle.
Yeah, because I'm not a smart individual. But before we go off track, I mean, what would you score? I mean, I don't think you got the true Shadow of the Colossus experience.
Yeah,
mainly because you had me there. No one.
Yeah, I think
wants that. But
I really love the final credits to it, and I could definitely see why people get emotionally attached to that game. But I think when you are live streaming it, you do lose a bit of that.
It's an individual experience.
It definitely. I think from a gameplay side of things, though, I loved a game that just focused on big, silly, over the top boss fights, and I thought that was great. I really wish the kind of shaking the head mechanic when you're attached to it and you can't find the time to just stab and carry on with the fight. There's a small window there, and it's designed to ensure that it's all about timing once you're actually on top of the Colossus. But I felt really hard done to when you get chucked off because you missed that window when you've done all the hard stuff to get on top of the Colossus in the first place. But then again, I may have just been rather bad at it, which I've been reliably.
Do you think it's a bit harsh?
Case.
It's not a perfect game.
Yeah, the controls took a bit of getting used to.
Oh yeah,
but when the boss fight goes right and you don't have those annoying moments, it's excellent. That sand serpent, I think on what the actual name of the Colossus is, but the flying sand serpent that never tries to attack you and you have to jump onto its wing. That boss fight is brilliant. By far my favourite out of the lot.
There you go.
Shadow
of the Colossus.
Official Chris Pratt's review.
The oldest game podcast ever, this is.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about the original Gears of War and how much it affected me.
You'd always like to talk about
How did it affect you?
Yeah. I thought it was the first game I played then. I was
Sam
like,
used to
man,
be a
next
small
gen
man.
is here.
Oh, really?
Next gen is all right. Yeah, they're all big fucking blokes. Everyone went, wow, you said they were going to be like Splinter Cell guys. Fuck that. I want big blokes.
Were they?
Yeah. Did they? At one point, they were all designed like they were all agile and slim and
Fuck
Splinter
that.
Celling.
I want big blokes.
I do want big blokes. Always. All my life.
There we are.
Yep.
Wow.
Right.
Well,
learn something new every day.
Before we move on, is any other, I think we've missed any games that people play?
Nah, next week we'll have loads of games.
Just Tomb Raider, but again, probably been spoken about to death.
Tomb Raider Definitive Edition looks better than Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Looks
there
better,
we are.
and on PS4 as well.
Oh, and the PS4 is a better version, as seems to be
runs
a
at
recurring
720 frames per second on
That's
PS4.
all the frames.
And it only runs at 3 on Xbox One.
And it actually gave me a blowjob.
Right, cool. I think we've covered the main news of the week, which is Flappy Bird and all that stuff. So should we move on to some questions? I think we should. What do you think?
I've got a question. My first question is: did Dave Scammell get a blowjob from Tomb Raider?
Yes, he did. Yes, he's confirmed that once already. I'd like to move on.
Only the PS4 version.
That'd be a great headline, wasn't it? Square reveals PS4 version will give you head. Microsoft says, who needs head? Have a wank.
It's in the cloud. We've got a question from Katie120 here, who says, hey guys, Katie here.
Hello, Katie.
Hello,
new to
Katie.
the
Welcome
site.
to the podcast.
I'm so sorry, Katie.
But I'm loving it
I'm
so
not.
far. And my question is kind of game related, but also TV. We do TV here, that's fine. That's fine.
No, we don't.
Well, we do now, Simon Miller.
Do a television.
What are your views on the Walking Dead TV show? I'm in love with it. It's one of my other passions. Haha, smile! ! Also, if you like the show, then would you like to have some of its characters appear in the Telltale's The Walking Dead?
Well, they're different
series,
universes, aren't they?
No. They're both based on the comics.
They're spin-offs.
The game is it takes the comic storyline quite strictly and has the comics characters appear in it. The TV show takes the comic source material and then changes it to make it more
what
TV.
comic
You
source
could have just
material?
said,
in fact, they're zombies.
yes.
Well, no, because that's not the answer.
What source material is in the TV show that's in the comics?
So all the characters are the characters from the comics, but their stories aren't exactly the same in the TV show.
I really like The Walking Dead, the TV series. I watched the whole of the first series, but then I just stopped.
Yeah,
I never had an inclination to go back to it.
I give up this season. Season 4, I just give up.
Yeah, I had that as well. I think it struggles with pacing quite
Can I spoil some
badly.
of it or not?
You've only seen season 1, haven't you?
But I want to make sure I'm actually talking about the right thing. Let's not know. I think it's season 1.
But
yeah, I think it's okay. Do I want to see it? I'm not bothered. Doesn't make a difference to that game. As long as you establish a good character, I don't care where it comes from.
They are already doing... They bring characters from the comics into it, like Glenn and... is it Herschel, the guy who runs the farm?
Yeah.
They both appear in, and I like seeing those characters, which are the characters from the TV show as well. So I guess it already happens to an extent. The comics, the storyline of the comics... I feel is better than the TV show, so I'm quite happy that they're sticking with that, to be honest. Yeah. It's harsher. The TV show...
There you go, Katie. That's what we think.
We've got a question from Sam W, who says, "Hey guys, I really like playing games." Hello, that's good, isn't it? And I really like getting intoxicated by myself.
Say that again.
Yeah.
And I really like getting intoxicated by myself.
Right.
It sounds depressing, but that's just because it is.
Where's this going?
Oh, God.
Is this a cry for help?
Oh, good Lord.
I'll come around later.
Screen these questions.
How does your top 3 games to play when drunk list look? So
I don't
what
drink.
games do you play?
That's a bit of a tongue twister for you, isn't it? Say that.
How does your top 3 games to play when drunk list look?
Nice. Thank
you very much. Thank you.
I don't drink, so I can't. I'm out of this question.
Flappy Bird.
What about after pumping iron then? Workout games.
Gears of War.
Not
Gears of War. Yeah.
So yeah.
Pump on. I don't know.
Pre or post workout games.
I don't tend to play games while drunk.
Well, what about you got some friends over and you have a few cheeky beverages? David.
Steve Burns plays Party Pez.
Sports games are pretty good for that.
Yeah, FIFA's good for that.
Mount Your Friends. Great party game. Anything along those kind of lines.
Any of those rhythm action games.
Yeah, Rock Band, good one.
Rock Band's fantastic.
SingStar used to be a classic.
SingStar, it's almost a requirement.
But that's just karaoke, isn't it?
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Nidhogg would be a good one.
Virtua Tennis, that'd be good.
Virtua Tennis.
We don't play enough. Can we do a video on Virtua? Can we do a Virtua Tennis tournament, please, and record it?
Yeah,
sure we can.
That'd be good.
I really like Virtua. I'm not good at it, but I'd like to do that.
Some raddies can last 8
Well, we do need to bring the VG versus stuff back.
Okay, let's do VG versus Virtua Tennis, and let's get the.
I was going to say it'll be nice when we've got another video person to help with that because it's kind of.
We'll get the audience, the fans, to bet on it. Just let us know the odds. Who you think will win the Virtua Tennis?
Pick a favourite. Yeah, don't put money on it, please, because legalities and whatnot.
Jelly beans. Put jelly beans on it.
Yeah.
All right, then as a follow-up to that, Days USZ asks, when will we hear about the new video producer? It might be this week, right?
Can
we say that? I reckon...
Next week.
Next week. So it's coming. I'm excited.
I probably won't talk about it anywhere else other than on here, I don't think, at the time, because obviously there's admin stuff to do. Mm-hmm. But I would say 10 days.
10 days, all right then. I'm counting down, Simon. You know what that means it's time for?
No.
It's always questions of.
I know exactly what it's time for.
Yeah,
it's time for Miller Instinct, Simon.
Well, no, I said no because I thought then you were going to hit the gym. Miller
Instinct. Nick Millo on Twitter asks, Tom Orry or James Orry?
I'm not answering that question.
There is no way
I'm answering that question.
What's the context?
That means he's got a favourite.
No, that means I enjoy being employed. There is no way. No, this is the first time ever I'm vetoing. Ask another one. Another one. We ain't playing favourites here.
You called me Paxman.
Simon's definitely got a favourite.
Do you remember the Snog, Marry, Avoid question?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I'll answer that one, but the Orries, I will not pick sides. I refuse. That's mean, Chris Pratt. That is a mean debut for you on Miller Instinct. Well, I'm very upset with you right now. We're going to have a meeting later. It's going to be about your potential future at this company.
No, it's going to be a meeting. So you'll sit you down and then go ask you the same question.
And James and Tom are going to be behind me.
Just behind the glass.
Yeah. Come on, Brat.
Okay.
Try again.
It's not a great... there's not one that jumps out.
Are you criticising the suggestions from the audience?
I think you should just pick one.
I'm going to
count to 5, and whichever one you see, ask.
Dave, you pick one.
I
pick one, right?
I got that in there. So the answer is legs. Always legs. Always train legs. Friends don't let friends skip leg day.
Right.
Here we go.
A lot of these aren't really yes or no questions, though, are they?
Well, that's fine. I can work with it. I can work with anything. I think we should just ask one, though.
Okay.
Miller Instinct is dragging.
This is going to require a bit of a lengthier answer.
That's
I think,
fine. That's fine.
But it has to be immediate. No more vetoes. You've used your one veto.
Okay, fair enough.
Of Miller Instinct.
Shit. It's going to come back to bite me in the ass, isn't it?
Simon, if you and Bratters were attached to each other for a day, what would you do together?
Oh, why is it always something weird like that?
What we do? I take you to the gym because Chris Pratt is under the assumption that I can't get him to go to the gym. Now, Chris Pratt doesn't realise that everybody breaks. Much like Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. Everyone has a price.
Gyms are rubbish.
Chris Pratt will break one day. So I would take him to the gym and we would train. I would then go have a protein feast to show him how we recover our muscles.
That sounds so right.
I'd then take him to YouTube, the offices in London, to show him how to actually make videos.
Oh, man.
And then we would...
nice.
So one day you'll come back in and you'll be like 10 times the size you are right now.
Yeah.
That
I
day
can make videos, which would be good.
Yeah.
Can I have a follow-up question?
Yeah.
Where would you two be attached? At what
Heads.
body part? Heads.
Head, but it'd be like head to head. So when I'm walking around, he's literally like doing a handstand on my head.
That's too close, man. That's too close.
On top of the head?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be taller, so I get an extra sort of 6 feet on me, so that'd be good.
Well, that's why I didn't ask that question, Dave. So yeah, that was Miller Instinct. We send a tweet out at the start of these podcasts so Simon can't check them beforehand.
That's right.
And yeah, he's used his one and only veto. So next week you can ask whatever you like. And yes, before we go, we need to announce the new competition, new podcast competition. Dave and I did a wonderful little gallery video.
We did
last month's.
Yes.
Dave said some horribly inappropriate things.
It was a bit weird at times.
Yes, but this month we'd like you, with Titanfall coming out in March.
Yeah.
We'd like you to do something funny with that. Design your own Titan or some aspect of that game.
Just design.
Just do something.
Too.
Do something with the word Titanfall.
What do you mean? Some
You may think we've been paid money by EA and Respawn, but we haven't. We just want you to come up with some Titans. That's all we want. That's all we want.
That's it. So yeah, if you want to win a free video game up to the value of £50, maybe even Titanfall, you go to the Video Gamer forums. You'll find a post there and just put some weird pictures in, and then we'll talk about them on a video. And
I'd have a Titan with big jelly arms, and it would just like.
And also,
this is for regular listeners that knew about the jelly arms joke. Hello, I know you're still alive. I still am here too. But
Dave,
he'd just go around flopping his
Nobody can see what Dave is doing right now. He's jiggling like a snake having a fit.
Yep.
Wow.
They weren't actually jelly
I
arms.
like Red Dead Redemption, yes or no? Send me a tweet. I'd like to see where we fall down on this issue.
What? Yes, whether or not it's good?
Yeah. Yes,
well,
you like
you're
it.
going to get about 1 million yeses, I should imagine.
Well, I'll find out, won't I?
Cool.
1 million? Wow, I'll take that.
Podcast
have done well. Well up for that.
Also, try and peer pressure Bratters into going to the gym and getting a protein dose.
Protein feast.
Protein feast, sorry.
Maybe that's what walls should get into, because they do feast ice cream, right?
Yeah.
Replace the ice cream with like
well, and yeah, that's it for this week's Video Game UK podcast. Thank you for joining me, guys. It's been splendid.
Hasn't really though, is it?
7 out of 10 for me.
Thanks.
It doesn't get Nintendo's seal of approval. It get the new Nintendo seal of approval.
Yeah, the official seal of approval.
That was great. That's exactly the outro we needed.
Yeah? Oh, good. I'm glad. We've done it, guys.
Yeah.
Looks like we made it. Happy times.
Coming to Wii U.
Now.
Braz isn't happy.
Sorry, Braz.